Hey everyone, in this video you're going to get a behind the scenes look at how I design a level for my story driven game Tempered Flames. It's been a while since I released that last testing build and I need to make some serious progress to reach my next milestone. This week we're going to create the first level of the game and get it ready for you guys to test. Let's get started. Alright, so hopefully you can see the change in quality. I got a new camera and I spent quite a while this week trying to get it. That was kind of a hassle in itself, but hopefully everything looks a lot better now. So how do we actually create a level for a game? I spent a lot of time watching GDC talks and stuff this week trying to figure out how to make the best possible level. So there are a few things to keep in mind. Tempered Flames is an immersive sim, so you need to give the player a lot of choices, right? And I have a lot of narrative stuff going on that I also have to integrate. So to underline those choices, in your map design you have to create what's called loops in the level. So the player can essentially have different options of how they want to tackle different problems. For example, you might have a big open area with like 2 or 3 different entrances, and the player might see an enemy facing that way from one entrance and this way from another entrance, and that might change the player's decisions on how they're going to tackle that problem. I also wanted to put in various hidden secrets into the level. This is going to kind of tie into the way that the player is going to make certain choices beforehand, which I'll get to later. Things that will reveal something about the world, right? You also have to keep in mind pacing. So make sure that the story and the kind of gameplay flow proceeds in a way that's interesting. And finally, gray boxing or blockout, which means you make your level in a much more simplified way. So you create blocks or gray boxes. And this is essentially your first draft of your level. You're going to be remaking this over and over again until you nail it. Alright, so with all of that in mind, here's kind of what my layout for the level is going to be. So essentially, before entering the level, the player has the choice between taking the elf woman with him that I mentioned in other devlogs, or letting her go somewhere to rest or something. So the elf woman just got attacked by some renegade thugs. Now you follow them and you get to this library. The library is an imperial university, an area where people will study. So there's plenty of books, obviously. And essentially the renegades are looking for a magical item that they were studying here. But the twist is that this library was actually part of the Old Kingdom. A group of monks actually ran this library before it was taken over by the Empire. So the player can find an old chapel or old books talking about how things used to be in the past, right? So you get those little secrets to gain an even broader insight as to what's going on kind of behind the scenes, right? So first there's the library, there's going to be a basement, and keeping in mind the loops, there's going to be 2 entrances to the basement. There's going to be the main entrance and there's going to be a side entrance that you can find if you look hard enough. And upstairs you're going to be able to find other secrets like healing potions or ability potions, and you're not going to understand what the ability potions do at first because at this point you don't actually have any abilities. At the end of the level, you find the lightning ability, and now you suddenly realize, wait a second, if I go back, I can use that potion to heal my ability power. I'm also kind of thinking about what kind of enemies can I put into the level, right? I'm thinking like armored guys who are very difficult early on, but now that you have the electric ability, the pacing means that those guys are now going to be easier to fight. And then I'm thinking, well, what if I do some kind of boss fight at the end, right? Maybe let me know your thoughts in the comments on what kind of enemies I could integrate and maybe what kind of boss I could do. I've been thinking about that a lot and I can't seem to think of something that I feel works well. So if you guys can give me some feedback on that, I'd really appreciate it. Since this is an early level in the game and the player won't have many abilities to let him get to secret locations, there still needs to be some kind of side rewards hidden throughout that the player can choose to engage with or ignore. So since this is a library, I'm adding books that will shed light on the state of the world. There will be books written by imperial scholars promoting humanism and the glory of their new regime, but there will also be some secrets of the Old Kingdom revealing how deeply the things the revolutionaries tried to get rid of remain. Essentially, the new empire, although they would hate to admit it, are built on the foundations given to them by their predecessors. Other than that, I also added doors, which if you see my other devlogs, you know I will eventually want the electric ability to interact with them. For now, they will just disappear when the player opens them for the purpose of the blockout. I also had to make some kind of quick ladder system, which I had some trouble with. The player wouldn't move when touching the ladder, he wouldn't go up or anything. The fix was a little tricky. It had to do with the way that the movement script was written, and in one of my earliest devlogs, I made a really cool state system that helped a lot with code organization, but I did have to scrap it eventually just because I didn't use it. Maybe I'll have to bring that system back and really squeeze its potential out because I did work hard on it and it's very useful and it does keep your code nice and clean and extendable. Here's a quick walkthrough of the level. As you can see, there's quite a lot of things left to do. The textures aren't that great here. They're very much placeholder. Everything's kind of gray, but hey, it is a gray box after all. It'll be much more interesting later on. I got tons of plans for all these rooms and we're gonna have to resize things here and there. But yeah, so far so good. The next few things I'm going to have to do is to create a stage system for the level so that NPCs will know where you are and you'll be able to track your progress and create some sort of quest system for it. So make sure you stay tuned for when that comes up in the next devlog. Also, make sure to check out my other devlogs where I talk about how I created the game from its earlier stages into a playable demo build. Things have come along really far, and I'm honestly really proud to see where I've come so far. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and smash subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more episodes, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I sometimes post different things on Twitter unrelated to game development, but it would be great to have you join the community. So if you're interested, links are in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.